Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today I give you 10 more recommendations on Netflix. So just a little FYI before I get into this, I just had surgery the other day, I guess day before yesterday, so I'm still really in a cloud. It was a back surgery, it wasn't anything major. They're putting in a pain stimulator, so it wasn't a major incision, but there was two of these incisions, like on my back. But I just wanted to let you guys know because I'm doing my best over here, but you might notice a little bit of a drop off in the video. It just may not be quite on the same level as normal. But with that, let's get to the list.
So sorry. That's not gonna be enough. That's not going to be nearly enough.
Calibre is a 2018 British dramatic thriller. Written and directed by Matt Palmer, it stars Jack Lowden and Martin McCann. The story is set in Scotland and concerns an incident on a hunting trip to the Scottish Highlands.
Reckon you can take down a deer?
Probably not, no.
Not everyone can do it.
This is really intense and impactful. It really keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it takes some twists and things along the way that you're not going to really see coming. But it tells a really grim story. This is not a happy movie. This is not a fun movie. This is more of one of those kinds of movies that feels like a real situation of something that could really happen. But it's well shot and directed, and the cast do a wonderful job. This is a great little movie that I definitely recommend. Errementari, also known as The Blacksmith and the Devil, is a 2017 internationally produced fantasy horror movie. Directed by Paul Urquio, it stars Candido Uranga, Uma Blackigla, and Erneko Serengdoi. The story is set in 1843, with a blacksmith holding a demon in captivity, and an orphan girl who releases the demon from its cage. So this really caught me off guard. I had heard it mentioned a little bit here and there, but I didn't really know much of anything going in. And it's just so gorgeous and so fantastical. But it also has a lot of disturbing, creepy, haunting imagery. It's such an incredibly told fantasy story. In a lot of ways, it just kind of feels like a bedtime story. But it's way too dark and messed up to really be that. But it just has that overall kind of charm and atmosphere to it. It's just a really good movie, and it's sad that it's really flown under the radar. I highly recommend you give this a look.
Ich verspreche es.
Blood Red Sky is a 2021 German action horror thriller. Directed by Peter Thorsworth, it stars Perry Baumeister, Roland Moller, and Alexander Scheer. When a group of terrorists hijack an overnight transatlantic flight, a mysteriously ill woman must unleash a monstrous secret to protect her son.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. As you can see, we have control of the plane. Our one demand is strictly monetary.
So recently I made a vampire best of list video, and while doing that I was just researching a lot of different movies, and it caused me to remember a lot of the lesser known ones as well, and how I will eventually make some videos about the lesser known movies of the subgenre. But Blood Red Sky is definitely one that deserves to be talked about, because for such a little known movie, it's great, and it's something that is real recent. And it's bizarre because it's on Netflix, and a lot of times the Netflix movies get a lot more action, a lot more people talking about them because they're on Netflix and a lot more people have Netflix. But strangely enough, I still haven't heard a lot of people talk about this movie, and it has all the things, at least for me personally, that I really enjoy about vampire movies. Now, I'm not saying this is a game changer and gonna change the subgenre of vampires or anything like that, but as far as a fun, action-packed vampire movie that's got a lot of bloodsuckers and some unique twists and turns, and really a kind of cool overall look and style to it, it's definitely a banger and one that I highly recommend. ICU is a 2019 crime mystery horror movie. Directed by Adam Randall, it stars Helen Hunt, John Tenney, and Judah Lewis. Strange occurrences plague a small-town detective and his family as he investigates the disappearance of a 12-year-old boy.
Justin Witter, 10 years old. Went missing on a bike ride last night near Troubadour Park. Park ranger found the bike. No boy.
So I first heard about this movie about a year ago, and I was just blown away because it is not at all what I was expecting. And at the time, I recommended it when it was over on Amazon Prime. But I'm so glad to see it on Netflix now and see it ranking as one of their top 10 movies. And that's just fantastic because I know that more and more people are going to see this movie, and it really deserves to get some love. It really should be more of a cult classic type of movie. At the very least, it deserves some buzz because it is wonderfully told, and it's really surprising because it takes some directions and does some things that, at least for me, really caught me by surprise. The cast do a fantastic job in it, and it's well directed and told, and just overall, a really well done, exciting movie, and one that I highly, highly recommend. That hurt my back, by the way. Ouch. Viking Wolf is a 2022 Norwegian horror creature feature. Directed by Stig Svensson, it stars Liv Mahones, Ellie Rhiannon Moller, and Jur Vont Nabreen. The story is about a girl who moves with her family to a small town, but after a student is killed brutally at a party, she becomes a key witness. Okay, so I'm gonna be completely upfront and honest with you guys about this movie. I wanted more. I really wanted to love this movie. It's rare that we get good werewolf movies, and so I was really hoping for something special. And it isn't exactly amazing, but in saying that, it's still fun. It's still a good time, and it's one I still definitely recommend, especially if you're a fan of werewolf movies. It's just a lot of it for me was the werewolves. Everything is very CGI heavy, and it just didn't quite grab me. The story also and the characters, everything in general just didn't really pull me in. It didn't blow my mind. It wasn't any kind of a game changer. It wasn't quite what I was hoping for. But when I took a step back from it, I was like, it really is what it is meant to be. It's really meant to be just a fun little creature feature. It's not meant to be any kind of a game changer movie. And so I was like, you know what? This is a movie that really does deserve some love and does deserve to be recommended because if you're a horror fan, especially if you're a fan of creature features, werewolf movies, then it's a lark, man. It's one that's definitely a lot of fun and entertaining because it's just a popcorn type of horror movie. So on that level, I do really recommend it. Just go in with lowered expectations, not expecting anything game-changing, and I think you'll really have fun with it.
We opened the door for these people. Now we have to show them what's behind it.
The Discovery is a 2017 British-American sci-fi thriller. Directed by Charlie McDowell, it stars Rooney Mara, Jason Segel, and Robert Redford. It's about a scientist who uncovers scientific proof that the afterlife is real, causing some to end it all and others to seek answers of what is real.
Don't you think your discovery was just too dangerous to share with the world?
This is such a powerful, intense story. It really pulls you in, and it's one of those type of movies that really sticks with you long after you've seen it. And the acting is phenomenal in this. Everyone involved just really give it their all, and you could tell that they're all engaged and really trying to do something important and special with this movie. But it is a small indie movie, so it's much more about the dialogue and the dread and the uncomfortability and things like that that are a part of this story than it is any kind of big special effects or anything like that. But I think if you go into this with the right expectations and expecting it to be a drama, dialogue-driven, kind of a slow burn, psychological thriller, I think you'll really appreciate it. So definitely give this one a look. The Wretched is a 2019 supernatural horror movie. Written and directed by the Pierce brothers, it stars John Paul Howard, Piper Curda, and Zara Muller. The film follows a defiant teenage boy who faces off with an evil witch posing as his next door neighbor.
Hey, what's going on?
So this movie is so creepy and moody and atmospheric, it just looks great. It's one of those kind of movies that's really fun in its creativity with the way it feels. It isn't necessarily a super amazing story, but it very much shines when it comes to the way it feels and just its style and just the kind of visuals and mood that it creates. There's so many really cool, creepy, witchy scenes that are just absolutely a blast. It's another one of those movies that I'm always surprised I don't hear more about, especially with how popular the Fear Street trilogy movies were, because there were a lot of the same kind of vibes when it comes to the creepy, witchy, folklore kind of stuff. I think this is a really entertaining movie that absolutely is worth your time.
Tu sei la più preziosa qui.
A Classic Horror Story is a 2021 Italian horror movie. Written and directed by Paolo Strapoli, the film stars Matilda Lutz, Francesco Russo, and Peppino Mazzotta. The story is about 5 people who are traveling across country and get in an accident. But when they recover, the road they were driving on has been replaced by an impenetrable forest and wooden house. This is another one that's really flying under the radar because the imagery in this and the cool little folk horror kind of elements that it has as well. It's one of those movies that I got to be careful with because I'm trying to not give anything away. But some of the things that you see in this and just the way it handles what's real and what's not and the gory, grotesque nature of things and just in general, it's a really fun, like it's called, a classic horror story. It's not anything groundbreaking per se, but it really comes at you with a lot of the things that really make for a fun horror movie. I think it's great, and I think it's one that a lot more you need to give a look, because I think you'll really be entertained by it. So definitely check it out.
It's just grass.
In the Tall Grass is a 2019 Canadian supernatural horror movie, directed by Vincenzo Natali and based on the Stephen King Joe Hill 2012 novella of the same name. It stars Harrison Gilbertson, Lycia de Oliveira, and Patrick Wilson. When a brother and sister enter a field of tall grass to rescue a boy, they soon realize they cannot escape and that something evil lurks in the grass.
Someone out there?
This is one of those movies that I feel like I'm very much on an island with because I really don't get why more people don't seem to like it. I talked about it one other time on this channel and I had a number of people commenting saying that they thought it was a piece of shit, and I don't get that, man. I really don't understand that because this is such a well-told, mysterious, creepy, moody, atmospheric, tension-building kind of movie. And it takes this real simple concept and I feel like it pushes it to the limit because I'm a big fan of time slips and parallel dimensions and the horror and creepy nature of that. I think it's something that we haven't seen nearly enough movies and stories told on. I think that you could really do a lot more with that subgenre. And it is based on Stephen King and Joe Hill's writing, so it has a good foundation to start with. But I'm not saying it's like the greatest movie ever made, but if you're into psychological thrillers and mystery, time slip, you know, creepy things like that, that also has some really fantastic imagery, especially when it's dealing with such a simple concept. So if you've never seen this movie, I think you might be surprised on how much you like it. So definitely give it a chance. World War Z is a 2013 action horror movie, directed by Mark Forrester and loosely based on the 2006 novel of the same name. It stars Brad Pitt, Miralee Enos, and Matthew Fox. Former United Nations employee Gary Lane traverses the world in a race against time to try and stop a zombie outbreak. So I do have a little bit of issues with this movie, and that's why it's not necessarily one of my favorite zombie movies ever made. And it's just because I feel like they could have done more with the source material. Just the way that this movie is told, I really like a lot more the way the novel tells the story. And you could say that about all books. And so that's why I kind of disregard that opinion, so to speak. And I try to look at this as just a fun, entertaining, kind of blockbuster level horror movie. And when I look at it that way, it's actually pretty fun. And I do think it's really great to have any horror movie that has this level of acting and this level of a budget. Like it's just really nice to see any horror movie get the blockbuster treatment. But now that it's been out for years, I'm able to really appreciate it and enjoy it a lot more for what it is and not for what it isn't, because it's just a silly blockbuster kind of horror movie. It's way over the top. The zombies are absolutely bonkers, coming at you everywhere like ants, and it's just a lot of fun to see that. And Brad Pitt really gives it his all, puts everything he's got into this silly, bonkers, action, over the top zombie movie. It's nothing too serious at all. It's just a fun popcorn horror movie, and one that I think is perfect for your Saturday night. So do yourself a favor, grab your popcorn and your candy and enjoy! Alright guys, that's gonna do it for me today. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you enjoyed this, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that's the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this at least one time every single week. I also want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys seriously mean so much to me. And if you would like to help this channel out and find out more about how you can become a member over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or if you want to become a channel member over here, there's a little button right down there that says join. But you got to be on a PC to see it. Doesn't show up on phones or tablets. I don't know why. It seems like YouTube would figure that out, but I guess not. But anyway, like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. If you enjoyed this, click right here to see my 10 absolute favorite zombie movies. And I'll see you guys next time.